when you're on a test event and you're out for maybe 25 or 30 days, you'll be getting per diem and then you'll be working extra hours.
Right.
And so between the per diem and your extra hours, you can easily make, 150, 175 easily,
Yeah.
based on the fact that you're not doing the normal 9 to 5, 40-hour work week. So it's quite easy to increase the salary. You'll have a base salary, and then from that point on, depending on how ambitious you are and how hard you want to work, there's opportunities to make much more than what your base salary is.
Welcome back to another episode of Day in My Tech Life. My name is Simone B, also known as Bees, and today we have a very special guest. This is my dad.
Simone.
This is my dad, Raymond Berry Sr. So he has been in GovTech for my whole life.
Exactly.
All right. So he's been in GovTech my whole life, and I wanted him to come here to share his story and tell everybody kind of like how he got into the industry and just the best tips that he has and just how it's changed his life. So I guess first, Dad, if we could first talk about, what made you get into the Air Force at such a young age?
Well, so for me, my journey was I just need to get out of Louisiana. So it was around 13, 14 years old, I decided I wanted to join the military. I had a cousin that was in the Navy, and my lifelong dream was to join the Navy. So at 15, I took the ASVAB, passed the test, and at 16, I met with a Navy recruiter. Thought everything set up. He came to my home, sat down with my mother and I, and we were ready to sign the papers. And my mother was like, "You can't swim. I'm not signing you up for the Navy." And so I was like, "Okay, well." And the Navy recruiter's like, "Well, that's not a problem. I have an Air Force recruiter. He sits right next to me, and I'll have him come by Monday." It was a Friday. And so we were sitting at the table, and actually, my mom was frying fish, and we had a nice meal going. Everything I thought was going to work out perfect. And it switched on me, and I met with the Air Force recruiter that following Monday, and I became an airman. And that's basically how it worked. It was Navy to Air Force in a matter of 1 week. And so I really needed to leave Louisiana. There wasn't a whole lot of opportunities in Louisiana at the time. My parents weren't middle class, weren't rich, so we didn't have resources for me to go to college. So I said my best opportunity would be to join the military. And so I joined the Air Force at 16. I was on delayed enlistment at age 16 and graduated from high school early and did delayed enlistment for 6 months and went on active duty at my midterm. I finished high school early, got into the Air Force in February 1981, graduated from basic training, went to tech school, went back to my high school graduation ceremony, walked with my class, and then went on to my first duty assignment. So for me, I took open electronics. I didn't want to wait for a job, so I ended up in the Air Force as a aircraft armament specialist. So I worked on fighter jets my first 3.5 years in the Air Force. So worked on F4s, A-10s, F-15s, OV-10s. And at my third year point, I decided that wasn't for me. I thought I wanted to work with my hands and work outside, but my first duty assignment was Alaska, minus 60 degrees below zero. That was challenging. Departed there, went to Langley Air Force Base, 105 degrees. So it's 165-degree temperature swing in a matter of 6 months. And at that point, I said, I need a new job. And the Air Force provides an opportunity to retrain and get another job. And so I got into, at that time was communications, computers, intelligence, operations. And that's how I got into IT. At that point, I was at my 4-year point and I became a comm IT type person, not really IT because at that time you had mainframes, was computer switching centers, teletypewriters, all that stuff. And then as time progressed, the Air Force, we gradually transitioned from the old technology to the new, small computer shops, working on data processing centers, working communication centers, working uh, sysadmin, working network operations center. So that all transitioned over a matter of 16 years. And at the end of my Air Force career, uh, I had always planned on continue my education, graduated from high school without a degree. And so throughout my military career, I always took classes. I took night classes, enrolled University of Alaska, took classes at a community college in Hampton, Virginia, took classes over at when I was at the Pentagon. I got my associate's degree from the Air Force, community college at Air Force, got my associate's, got an associate's degree in computer science from Pierce College in Washington State. And while in Washington, D.C., got my computer networking degree from Strayer University and retired from the Air Force with my bachelor's degree in computer networking. And also, I had my Microsoft Certified System Engineer certification along with Cisco Security Plus and CCNA.
Okay, so
Yep.
you did a lot in the span of what 16, 20 years, right?
Yep, 16
But
years.
I want to go
Yeah.
back to when you first joined the Air Force. Like, were you scared to deploy?
No, not really. I had a deployment. So when I was at Bolin Air Force Base, it was Desert Storm, Desert Shield, and I was there for 1 year. And my first sergeant was like, "I need you to go to Saudi Arabia," and I was like, "Okay, well, when do I leave?" And it was like, "Okay, you'll be leaving in February, and you'll be there for 6 months." So I deployed to Saudi Arabia, uh, worked in a communications center, and it was different. Got to meet a lot of real good people. Even to this day, I still have those people in my life. They're real good friends of mine. As a matter of fact, they came to my 60th birthday party. Two of those individuals were at that party. So the Air Force was great, and my entire career, I loved it. Never had a problem with deployment. Never had a problem with assignments. Anything that came my way, I was ready for it. So.
Yeah, see, that's the difference between me and you, because you were in the Air Force when they told you to deploy, you had to go. When Raytheon told me, "Hey, you're going to Saudi," I told him, "Hey, I'm not going," and I went and found another job. So,
Okay.
but yeah,
Yeah.
so when you throughout your technical professional career, right? You did a lot of different things in the Air Force, and if people wanted to join the Air Force, I guess what would you say is one of the best things that they should do to become a IT professional within the Air Force?
Yep. So with the Air Force, the one thing that I realized when I went open electronics, it probably wasn't the smartest thing to do because there's like a 365-day cycle. The Air Force projects out their assignments a year out. You have to give the Air Force notification a year out that you're going to stay or you're going to leave. And once you decide that you're going to leave the Air Force, that position opens up and it allows someone that wants to join the military to take that position. So, and that's basically the way it works. So, my thoughts are the best thing that you can do is study for the ASVAB test because you do have to have a pretty good score to get into the communications or the intel or the IT side of it. There are other positions in the Air Force where the scores are a lot lower and you don't have to qualify as high. So study for the ASVAB. There's a practice test, it's online. Spend time with it, and you can take it every 6 months. So if you start taking it and you don't get the score that you want, take it again. And then at that point in time, once you have a score that qualifies for an IT position, uh, talk to the recruiter and try to get that position at that time. It may take 6 months or 7 months or 8 months to go into the Air Force. You won't be able to go right away because you have to wait for the position to open. But I think that's the smartest thing to do. Intel, IT, cyber warfare, cybersecurity. There's all those positions are excellent for starting off your career in the IT world. If you don't go to college, if you just want to say, I need to just start something different. And then, oh, by the way, the Air Force has community college. As I said before, we have our own community college at the Air Force. You can take classes at night on weekends, and you can get a associate's degree in computer science or computer networking, any of those sorts. So, or cybersecurity. So, I highly recommend, if you really need to get your career started, study for the ASVAB and join the Air Force.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
So for you, you really maximize everything that you could get out of the Air Force because you got so many degrees and so many certifications. So how did you go about that? Like, is there a process people have to go through to get them to pay for degrees and certs?
Yep. So the Air Force, there's a GI Bill. So, and if you're on active duty, you automatically qualify for the GI Bill. They will pay 75% of your tuition. So 75% of the coursework is covered by the military, and then you pay the other 25%. And so, and if you get promoted early, like I did, I got promoted to E5 in 3 years.
Oh, wow.
And so it was 90%. So they paid 90% of my tuition assistance, and I only had to pay 10%. So if if you're able to get promoted early, it's even a better deal. But 75% is not bad also.
Yeah. So what did you do to get promoted early?
Just studied a lot.
You studied a lot.
Yeah, just got into the books and did a lot of studying.
Yeah.
And so the Air Force, it's all based on aptitude.
Yeah.
So it's not like the other services, some of the Army and the Marines, you don't test for E5. It's all based on your job and your fitness scores, whereas the Air Force is all based on aptitude. You have to study, so you have to know your job.
Okay. Okay. And so when you got out of the Air Force, what rank were you?
I was E7.
You were E7 when you got out, and you did
Sergeant,
Master Sergeant. You did 20 years?
20 years and 13 days.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. You did your full 20 years and retired. So when you were in the Air Force, didn't you work like part-time too? Or was that not? Because I felt like when I was growing up, you were in the Air Force and you were working part-time for government contractors too.
Yes, I worked part-time for Lockheed Martin. I did. I did a security detail. So I've always kind of pushed everything to the limit. So I don't want to, so basically I do multiple things at multiple times. I don't sleep a lot. I sleep in more than 5 hours in any time. So maximize my time, use it wisely. So yes, I was taking college classes, plus I was working a part-time job, plus I had my family.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So if people wonder where my work ethic comes from, it comes from my dad for sure, and my mom. They both have crazy work ethics. So they believe in working very hard, and my dad really believes in going to school, getting your education, getting tech certifications. So when it comes to getting the tech certifications, which ones do you feel like helped you the most throughout your career? And then also first, I guess let's talk about what are you doing now? Because we've talked about everything in your Air Force. What are you doing now? And what do you think helped you get to where you are now?
Yep. So right now I'm a defense contractor. I'm a senior test and evaluation engineer. And I've worked multiple positions. I've done just about any and everything that you can imagine from the test and evaluation side of it. When I was on the Air Force on active duty, I was on the operations side, system administration, network administration, all that type stuff. But then when I got into the civilian side of it, my last 4 years in the Air Force, I was security certified accreditor for the Air Force. So I traveled around the world and did security test and evaluation on Intel systems. And so that led me into the work that I did when I transitioned from the Air Force. I was in test and evaluation, so I became a T&E engineer. And so at this point in time right now, as I said before, I've been doing it for quite a while. From my experience, because I'm also a manager and I have hiring responsibilities also, I see a lot of resumes, I see a lot of applicants, and the one thing that you must have to get into IT, you got to have Security Plus. So that's part of the whole Air Force, the whole DoD certification accreditation process. You have to have Security Plus. And then with Security Plus, from there, you can build onto it either uh, Microsoft certifications or Red Hat or Cisco or CISA, CCNA, CCNP, all of those certifications. All of them will work. It just depends on what you want to specialize in. What do you want to do?
Right.
You want to be in networking. You want to be in administration. You want to be in test and evaluation. You want to be in cyber. There's a certification for all of those disciplines.
Okay.
Yeah.
So since you're doing test and evaluation, like which certifications do you think help you the most for test and evaluation? Or do you think it's more based off of the experience that you got or the like what you learned when you were in school? Yeah, Microsoft, they got rid of that certification. I don't know why.
Oh, they did. Oh,
Yeah,
sorry.
I know
It
they.
was quite a while.
Yeah, they got rid of it,
Okay.
but yeah, I do agree. I think that the Microsoft certs, they have new certifications that they have in certifications paths. I'm not sure which one would lead to test and evaluation now, but like, so what do you do on your day to day at work? I know you're more in management, but I know you still do a lot of work as well.
Yeah, so at this point in time, like I said, I'm more in management. I have a team of 10 cross-domain specialists that I manage. We do cross-domain certification, accreditation type work. So the team that I have, we work in that area is cross-domain type work. And then also because I'm a manager, I have other people within my organization that I also manage and I provide mentorship to. So what we do interoperability test and evaluation. So we ensure that all DoD system, weapon systems are effective and that they're interoperable so that when the warfighter goes out onto a mission, they don't have to use a system that's not working. So that's what we do. So that work is really planning, executing, and reporting. So there's requirements. You have to review the requirements, and then you write your test plan, you execute, and then you come back and report. Do your analysis and you report. So that work, it's pretty good work, and it's there's a opportunity where if you get into test and evaluation, there's not a lot of people that do it. It's kind of like specific, and it's different from administration, it's different from networking, it's different from cyber, it's different from all the other things that you could potentially do within the IT field. But like I said before, it's really more of, okay, what have you done in the past? If you have been working, like we hire a lot of sysadmin people, a lot of people that have system administration experience. They're familiar with the systems, they know, they install them, they configure them,
Right.
They ensure that they are interoperable when they set them up. So they have some background that helps them in the test and evaluation community.
Right.
So,
yeah. When I was out in Japan, we did a lot of flight tests. So we would have people come out from Huntsville, and they would do all the planning. All the system engineers back in Huntsville for MDA, they do all the planning, and then they come to Japan, and then we would go through and we do a flight test for maybe a month and a half. Like we're just doing straight testing. So you kind of do something similar to that, but in the States, and obviously not that kind of. It's not flight tests per se, but it is testing and evaluation for your type of systems that you're working on.
yeah, so there's multiple different systems. Like
Yeah.
I said, there's weapon systems, there's targeting systems, there are communication systems, there are a lot of imagery, intelligence systems that we work with.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of information that has to come together, and there's a lot of different systems that have to interoperate and communicate effectively in order to support missions. And so that's basically what we do. A lot of the systems that we execute test and evaluations on, there are multiple different types of systems that all come together to make that mission happen. And so it's just a different array of different types of tests.
Yeah. It's a lot. It's a lot of testing. It's a whole part of the like system engineering life cycle. Is test and evaluation.
Yes.
Yeah. So okay. So since you've been doing test and evaluation pretty much your whole career now, right?
Yep,
So
yep.
you've been doing it your whole career. Like what type of money do people expect in the test and evaluation space, right? Whether new people that you're hiring or maybe just like a range people can expect.
So a lot of that depends
Mm,
on the individual, as I said before. It depends on the number of years of that you have in IT.
mm,
So as I said before, like if you have someone that's been doing system administration work and they've done some different type of testing in the past, maybe they've done some independent verification validation work, or they've done some other type of testing, and their number of years of experience, they expect a certain salary.
right.
So you figure if you have uh, majority of the positions that we hire, it's 5 to 7 years of experience.
Okay.
And then so you can expect, I would imagine, somewhere between 50 to 75, maybe 80,000.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you get beyond that, it's 6 figures and above.
Right.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. So I know you love cars. So you have a lot of cars in the past
Yeah.
and even now. So with what you do in GovTech, being a test and evaluation engineer, it's
Yeah.
allowed you to have the cars that you like and take care of our family and things like that. So what type of range do people need to get to in test and evaluation? Like what type of like range can they get to as a senior
Oh,
in test and evaluation? Yeah.
as a senior, so Simone, as you know,
Yeah.
there are opportunities, there are different ways to increase your salary, as
Right.
you know.
Yeah. So what are those strategies that you
yeah,
use?
yeah. So if you're you're on a mission or a task, or you're on assignment where you get to travel, there's more than the traditional 8 hour workday.
Right.
So when you're on a test event and you're out for maybe 25 or 30 days, you'll be getting per diem, and then you'll be working extra hours.
Right.
And so between the per diem and your extra hours, you can easily make 150, 175 easily.
Yeah.
Based on the fact that you're not doing the normal 9 to 5, 40-hour work week. So it's quite easy to increase the salary. You'll have a base salary, and then from that point on, depending on how ambitious you are and how hard you want to work, there's opportunities to make much more than what your base salary is.
Right. Yeah. And then there's other ways for people to make more money too. And by being a government contractor, you can also work on multiple programs at the same time too. But you have to be very skilled and very experienced to do stuff like that. Can you talk about, how people can work on multiple programs if they're working at one of these government contractors to like charge two different charge codes?
Yeah, you can. Again, like I said before, it still is based on the number of hours that you're going to work,
Yeah.
and it's based on your willingness to actually work beyond the 40 hours. So there's really no limit to what you can do. Most contracts, they'll limit you to 15-hour work days. So 15 hours. And as you said before, when you were in Japan, I think you were working 15-hour days.
Oh, Taiwan, yeah.
Taiwan, 25 straight days.
Yeah, in Taiwan, I was working crazy hours. So I had like 92-hour work weeks, 13-hour work days. I'd work 26 days straight, take maybe 7 days off, and then do it all over again.
Right, and then your salary easily exceeds 200,000 or so.
Right. Exactly. So that's how you can do it that way. So I guess throughout your career, what are some challenges that you faced when it comes to being a test and evaluation engineer, or just in general?
Not really, not a lot of challenges.
Yeah.
No, I think as I said before, being in IT, the challenge is being able to just balance work and your social life.
Right.
So because as I said before, you can really get consumed with all and everything there is and all opportunities between certifications, studying for certifications, going to school, working on your undergrad, working on your master's. As I said before, I did a little bit of all. I got my undergrad when I was on active duty and worked on my master's. Got my master's degree also in communications technology, which again, that's on your own time. So you're doing that on weekends, you're doing that at nights, you're studying, you're traveling, you're working, you're raising a family. And so you really, really have to kind of just balance all that. That's really the biggest challenge with IT. unless you're fortunate and you can just go to school and get your undergrad and get your master's and then just go into whatever career path that you choose, and things are much easier. But, for most people like you and I, we have to start,
At the bottom.
start somewhere and
Yeah.
they just be aggressive about it and
Yeah.
just work hard. That's that's my best advice. Just work hard, just keep at it, just keep plugging, keep
Yeah.
going.
Yeah, so I also want to talk a little bit about what you think about when it comes to getting degrees. Like, how do you think that people should get degrees if they don't go to the military? Do you think they should work for either like a government contractor company or work for the federal government and then have them pay for it? What do you think about degrees?
Yeah. So as far as improving your position and trying to improve your education, uh, the contract world is the easiest way to do it. So when I worked for TRW, my manager approved all my classes. So I was taking 3 classes a semester, and they paid everything. I didn't have to pay anything at all. So only thing you have to do is just commit to 1 additional year on the contract. You don't have to pay. And so with TRW, it was the same way. And then we merged with Northrop Grumman 4 years later, and Northrop Grumman, they were very, very good. They have a very good educational program also. Same thing, you just pay, you sign for 1 additional year, whatever educational reimbursement they cover. You just have to be 1 year beyond that from that time frame. So to me, I think the easiest way to do it is to get a government contracting position or just a defense contracting position. It doesn't have to be government, and they'll cover most of your educational expenses.
Yeah.
Which, as you know, education has gotten very expensive.
So what's one piece of advice that you can give to people who want to be in your position?
That wants to be in my position.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. So as I said before, I've been at it for quite a while. My advice is to just focus on your education. I'm really big into education, studying, certifications, all that. Certifications are great, but your education, I think, is very, very important. So I just think that's one of the biggest things that I can give anyone if they're looking to get into IT. It's fairly easy to get into it, but then to advance and to excel, you really have to kind of just like show your manager, show everyone that, hey, I really want to excel at what I do. And so the easiest way to do is just approach your manager and say, how can I get educational assistance?
Yep.
And that's really it. So I talked to you about it before. I know you've taken classes, you've worked on your master's, and Raytheon was paying.
Yeah,
for
yeah.
yours.
Raytheon paid for me to go to Hopkins.
Yeah.
I didn't do the capstone, but
Yeah.
I have a plan to do a master's
Right.
and actually finish it. Yeah.
Exactly. Yep. Right. So, and that's what that's my advice to you.
Yeah.
Talk to your manager, find out exactly what all the requirements are, and once you get into an IT position, 90% of these companies will pay for educational assistance.
Right.
And that's really, to me, I think is very important. Certifications are only good for 3 years. You have to constantly renew your certifications. Once you get your education, no one can take it away. And the things that you learn are invaluable. And, it helps you with your writing, your analysis, your critical thinking. So that's my advice.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. You're really big on degrees, and I mean, even like, so what I did, I didn't know I was doing it on purpose, but I was at Hopkins and I was doing my master's, and while doing the master's and applying to these different roles, the companies were counting the master's towards my experience, even though I hadn't finished it.
Exactly.
On my resume, I always put, because you always told me, like, well, you can just put the credits and you can put when you're going to graduate, because that was the plan. But even then, like, they knew up front, like, hey, I'm telling them, hey, I still have a year left, or I only have 20 credits, right? And they're telling me, okay, well, we'll just count it as if you have your master's.
Right.
So that's what they started telling me. But yeah, no, I think also in GovTech as well, something that people don't know is that the more education you have, the more it counts towards your experience.
Exactly.
So
Yep.
if you come in, you don't have a degree, you have these companies pay for it, then you
Right.
get a bachelor's that counts for more experience.
Experience.
Then
So
you get the master's
masters.
that counts for more,
Exactly. Yep.
right? So you don't have to come out of pocket for them. You let these companies pay for you. So
Yep.
just like my dad was saying, it is easy to get into tech, but can you stay in tech? Can you excel?
Well,
And the way that you excel is by getting more education and
exactly.
having the companies pay for it.
And the certifications also. So I don't want to downplay the certification
Yeah.
aspect of it, because certifications are, uh, it's where, the rubber meets the road. Exactly where you learn the technology. You get the certifications, you actually have it's hands on, and then so you're actually learning the technology. So the certifications are important, but I think your education is equally as important.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely, definitely. So, how has tech changed your life and our family's life? You've been in tech for a long time now.
Yeah. So yep. So when I was in the Air Force, I didn't join the Air Force to get rich. Everyone knows the military, you don't make a lot. So the entire time I was in the military, I just kind of always projected myself as a computer scientist. So when I initially started taking classes, I was doing computer science. So I always kind of envisioned myself being in some type of IT position, some type of IT role. And at that time, salaries in the Air Force was very, very low. And I always said, I just want to make 50,000 when I get
Yeah,
out the Air Force. 50,000. I get 50,000. I'm good. I'm good.
yeah.
And when I retired, I started at 80,000.
Wow.
It was much more than 50. And I had my bachelor's degree, and like I said, I had my Microsoft certification along with my CCNA. And at this point in time, retired from the Air Force, working IT, and as I said, being very, very aggressive in everything that I do. My salary quickly, rapidly increased. And so I was able to, with the support of my wife and my lovely kids, you know, really, really improve my living standard, my standards of living, I should say. Yeah, so IT has been very, very good to me and my family. I was able to put you through college. You got your degree from
VCU.
VCU.
Yep.
Yeah, and then your brother went to Hampton University. He got his electrical engineering degree. You got your computer science degree, and my IT job paid for all that.
Yeah.
And then your youngest sister, my youngest daughter, she's been in a couple of culinary programs, and I paid for that also. So IT has been a godsend, a God blessing for me, and everything that we've been able to accomplish and achieve is based on this IT career. I've been in the defense of the nation for the past 40 years. I'm on a defense contract. I'm working with military guys. I was actually active duty military myself. Never said that I want to get rich in IT, just want to live comfortable.
Yeah.
And IT has been able to do that and a lot, much, much, much more.
Yeah, and on top of that too, you just got your 100% disability.
Yeah, I don't talk about it.
Okay, we
Yeah,
won't talk
yeah.
about that.
Yeah. But
Yep.
yeah,
So
60, yeah.
yeah.
20 years in the Air Force, quite a few challenges from health perspective. But, you kind of just work your way through it and just keep plugging away. And, so yes, I did. Yep.
Yeah, yeah. So I think this is great. You talked
Yeah.
about your whole career, a whole life story,
Yeah.
and I think that people just need to know that they see it from me, and I'm younger, and people are like, you're lying about what you're saying. That's what they say online. They say I'm lying about everything. So hopefully they hear from you.
No.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
second generation coming in,
Yeah.
starting from the bottom, because a lot of people don't know. I mean, I
Yeah.
started in high school because
Right.
you told me to go and take the IT class, but I didn't take the class you told me to take.
Yeah, I want you to do the Cisco. I want you to do
Yeah,
the CCNA. You did the
I did the
A
CompTIA A
plus. You did
plus.
the A plus certification, and then I recommended you take Cisco also
Yep.
in your second semester of high school. But
Yep.
as I said before, you have your A plus certification, which is great, and then you're going to college and you're going to get your computer science degree, and you can get more certifications as time progresses.
Yeah.
And so, the one thing I can say, Simone, is that I'm very proud of you and everything that you do. And everything that you do is real because you're the type of person, since you were very, very young, you've been very, very motivated, highly gifted, and very, very, very intense in what you do. And so I don't see any limits for you. Everything that you do in IT, yeah, you've worked for it. No one's giving it to you. And and I'm just very proud of you. And I understand that everything that you do is real because
Yeah.
you're probably up longer than I am. I keep long hours, and anytime I call you, you're up. You're working on some type of different project. There's
Yeah.
so many different things that you're doing. I know you're helping a lot of people too. I've been to some of your get together, your gatherings, your
Yeah.
meet and greets, and I've met a lot of people that you've worked with and inspired and touched their lives and helped to change their lives and improve their lot in life. And so I'm very proud of you and everything that you do, and keep helping everyone out there.
Thank
Yeah,
you. Thanks, Dad. Yeah, I
awesome.
just wanted people to hear your story because I feel like people should know that this is a valuable option for them. They can either go to the military, or if they don't want to go to the military, they can get their Security Plus, get into a help desk role,
Exactly.
quickly progress and get their way up by
Yeah.
getting their degree, getting more certifications, and completely change their life. So nobody's gonna go follow my dad,
Yeah.
but
Right.
this wraps up this episode of Day in My Tech Life. My name is Simone B, also known as Bees, and this is my dad, and he has had a great career, and he's helped me out so much just by giving me the right direction on what I should do and shouldn't do in my career. And sometimes I listen, sometimes I don't.
Right.
But
Yeah. Yeah.
overall, the framework to be successful in this industry is the same across the board, right? Get your certifications, get the company to pay for your education, and just continuously learn and work hard, and you'll be successful. So that wraps up this episode of Day in My Tech Life. And make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.